Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our quick publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Podcasting to you from my frozen field here in beautiful rural Ireland, I am Trev Downey, and I'm joined tonight for the Anfield Index Podcast number 350 by Lisa Marie Hanahan and Cam Brainch. We're going to try to talk about football-related things and red-related things and all that kind of stuff and see where it goes. And, you know, we will probably do a tangent or two, as we tend to. Lisa Marie, it's been a short turnaround since you and I did this show just ourselves last time around, had a nice chat about things that grind our gears in football. Some nice feedback to the show as well, and it's always nice to hear that from listeners. So in the interim, how have you been, my friend?
Well, you know, Trev, I've had very Irish weather this week. It has been rainy and yes, but kind of warm. So maybe not true December Irish weather, but yes, it's good because it's getting me ready for, and Trev knows this, my trip to Ireland in February. So I'm getting acclimated. It's fantastic. Which is in roughly 52 days from now.
roughly 52 days.
I kind of lost track of my countdown, but yes. So very excited to be headed over to the Emerald Isle, as they say, the first week of February. And I will probably be rather obnoxious with the countdown moving forward. So, y'all brace yourselves.
Yeah, we will. I can only imagine. I'm delighted. It's fantastic. I'm glad you put it out there now because I'm sure you'll have the Paddy contingent of AI reaching out to you as well, and there's something for us to look forward to and talk about together on the show as we go forward. For sure, we could do a little. Trev recommends section.
That would be lovely. I am open not only from you, but from anybody in the Irish Liverpool contingent to throw me some recommendations because
absolutely
those are the best from the people who actually live there, the things to see and the things to do. And restaurant recs are also welcome. So anyway.
Absolutely. We'll take advice from all solid Irish men, which unfortunately that doesn't include Alan O'Donoghue, but you know, we will we will listen to the likes of young Hendrick and we'll get there. And we're joined to make it three again and far more familiar feel to the show by Cam Brainch. Also, Cam, like myself, you're just in the door. How's the week been for you, friend?
Yeah, it's been a usual week at the shit job. So, you know,
I hope your employers don't listen to this show.
I couldn't give them monkeys, to be honest. They love me for some bizarre reason. They think I'm brilliant and I'm going to do really well there. And I'm like, I fucking hate this place. So, but yeah. And so I'm doomed. I'm going to spend the rest of my days there. So, because no chance anybody else is going to take me on now that they hear this. Yeah, so I've been lurgied up all week. I'm very snivelly, going outside and my nose freezes and I don't even know I've got nose at some points when I'm out there. Come back inside and then all I'm doing is going through rolls and rolls of tissues. So it's just, yeah, the lurgy's not been good, but yeah, still got it. Got a bit of a headache right now, but you know, I thought I'd battle through this tonight. You know, I thought it's important. You know, to 1 week off is probably just about acceptable, isn't it, for the lurgy?
Hey,
you've got to battle through sometimes.
Do you not remember what my voice sounded like a couple weeks ago on the show? All of you, man up. Let's go.
It's true. It is true.
She has no idea, does she, Trev?
No, she doesn't, because as a woman, she doesn't understand what man
No.
flu is. And
Exactly.
it's, you know.
I have a husband and 2 sons. I get it.
No, you don't. I'm sorry. This is
No,
where
you don't.
This is
You
where we
think you
stand.
do.
We stand up on our platform and go, "You don't understand our bodies."
Yeah. Our bodies are right.
Yeah, whatever. Pregnancy, childbirth.
Yeah, exactly. This is our one moment. It's our one moment to say, "You don't understand our pain."
Yeah. But my youngest daughter, she's been in bed for a week. She's had
Oh,
it bad. She's got it bad. She suddenly got it Sunday night as well, and that was it. Oh, game over, game changer. So she hasn't been to school all week. So I'm sure the school's been impressed with that. But what can you do?
well, but isn't she the school bully? So maybe they're appreciating the break.
Yeah, let's not say that too loud. She gets a bit angry.
Oh, you started it. I would never have said it if you hadn't said it.
This is true. I did start it. Guilty as charged.
Speaking of which, we should actually start the show with a football topic. You will have noticed, if you're a regular listener, that there is no clip from me, no introductory little ramblings from Cam or from Lisa Marie, because we're doing the show because it's literally the only window that we have to do the show in. So we didn't have time to prep in our usual way. Like I said, myself and Cam just in the door, and Lisa Marie's got like a million things to do over the next couple of days, as do I, as does Cam. So we're doing it as we can. So it's going to have an element of the old jazz to it. There is a story, however, that is sort of dominating my mind, because when I saw it today, I find it very hard to shrug off sort of encroaching pessimism that was dragging me back to the dark old days. It seems as if we're not allowed to have nice things, because we heard today, as we were trying to revel in the pictures of Thiago's thighs from the training camp in Dubai ahead of these Super Cup games against Lyon and whoever the hell else, we heard that Luis Diaz had to return to Anfield and Melwood and the various club doctors and fitness people there because of a recurrence or an irritation of the injury I think that he had before. He had missed a few sessions on Thursday and Friday. Now he's going to sit out these games, and we're told he's returning home today. There's a note here from the website 5 hours ago where Kloppo says, "It's all good with the boys who are here. What's not good is we have to see with Lucho. He felt something and we need to have further assessment there. But apart from that, they look really, really good." So it could be maybe not as bad or catastrophic as everybody fears, but we could certainly do without it, given the context of where we are. And I know I was looking forward to us maybe hitting the ground running, and I don't know what either of you think, but maybe you might respond to this as a question, Cam. It's my firm opinion that barring some sort of miraculous, absolutely not going to happen recruitment over the next 2 weeks, we're really going to need Luis Diaz, and Luis Diaz at his best if we're going to get anywhere near that top four and get the run together that's required. Would you agree with that, or do you think it's doable without him for a while?
No, we need him. We need him. We need Jota. We need every fit body available. We don't have a midfield. You can't just rely on 3 forwards, which is what we currently have, because obviously, like I say, Jota's missing as well. It's annoying. It's really, really annoying, but it's better it's happened now than in 2 weeks' time. That's the only way I can look at it, when the season has restarted.
Yeah.
So at least they can get him back. They can look at working on whatever the issue is and trying to put him right. And if he misses a game or two at the beginning rather than break down and then miss 3, 4, 5 games, that's the only blessing I can take out of this. So hopefully it's just a minor little like you said, he said he felt something. That doesn't sound like it's, oh my God, a ruptured Achilles tendon or something like that. That's feeling something as well, isn't it? But hopefully it's just something little, it's just a minor little setback. And that happens, I mean, what exactly is the injury? Does anybody actually know that?
The only thing that has been put out there, and again, that's not in the quote from Kloppo, the only thing that's been put out there is that it's an issue with the previous injury, a sort of an irritation.
No, I meant as in what was the previous injury?
I think it was his knee.
It was a knee problem, yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry, I couldn't remember what it was, so that's why I was asking. Well, you've got to be careful with it. It's like any injury can have a knock-on effect as well. So, yeah, like I say, for me, it's just more annoying than anything else. And hopefully, they get it sorted and he'll be back up and running and playing football in 2 or 3 weeks' time.
Lisa Marie, Kloppo continued. We all want to strike back, meaning to get back into good form. And that's the reality. We don't accept things like this. I think he's referring to the league position. He continues, but it's difficult in a season to change things because you play every 3 days and you have a problem, then you try to sort it, then you create another problem. That happens very often. We came through a difficult spell and now I think we're 6th in the table or whatever. Yes, he says there's some distance, but I don't know where it will end up. But I want to see us fighting for each inch, to be honest. That's what we try to create here. Now, this is all exactly the type of thing you would expect from Jurgen. What else can the fella say? But can't you see what I can see there, which is that people are going to pull those quotes apart and say, oh, we're definitely not signing anybody because you can't change. He's saying you can't change it. It's difficult to change it in a season. And obviously one way you can impact a team and change it is by drafting in personnel who are already fit, having played a chunk of a season already, or perhaps even participated in the World Cup. So it's hard to read that other than that way. Well, it certainly will be for a lot of people.
Are you that person who has everything? The coolest merch, and those must-have fan threads? Well, over at our Anfield Index shop, we've gone that extra mile when it comes to pimping up your Liverpool collection. From our popular range of bespoke design t-shirts, sweaters, hoodies and hats, to our signature edition mugs, prints and coasters, all provided with fast worldwide shipping. We have something for every red. We also stock official LFC merchandise and are licensed with the Premier League and UEFA to sell official iron-on shirt badges and sleeve patches. As a listener to this podcast, you can get 10% off everything with coupon code AIPRO10. Just head over to AnfieldIndex.shop or find us on Etsy by searching for Anfield Index.
When you put the Diaz injury in context, it's not just about the Diaz injury, it's about the run that we've been on, and it's really not good. It's really, really not good. We're losing so many people on such a regular basis for so many games that it does really feel as if the season's been badly impaired in a way that really isn't. It's not being taken into account by all the doomsayers and people, haranguing the performances. Yes, we should have done better with the players we had available, but this is a big, big, big hindrance to any team getting any sort of rhythm, isn't it?
It is, but, again, in a normal season, absolutely, it is very difficult to reset mid-season. And this is me coming from the, more positive side of the spectrum here. But I do think, as much as we were all not looking forward to this World Cup break, I kind of think it hit at as good a time as could be expected, to allow us to kind of reset. And now, Darwin's coming, Darwin's coming back from the World Cup early. As of today, Ali and Fab are, they're headed back too. So we could have very minimal impact from the fatigue from that tournament that some of the other teams, like say Man City, could be experiencing. So I don't know. it is what it is. You kind of have to work with what you've got. But, and I agree with what Cam was saying on the, the Diaz injury is that, if it's got to, this week is probably as best a time for it, for him to have maybe a little bit of a setback than say the first week of January. So, yeah. So it is what it is. I mean, yeah, people are going to pull apart and think that, well, that means we're not getting anybody in. And who knows, especially with the potential sale of the club and all of that kind of being up in the air. Who knew if we were even going to get anybody in anyway? So I don't know. I mean, I think like we've always say, you can only play the games in front of you. And that's kind of what it is. This is what we've got. Then we just need to move forward and hope for the best.
Well, let me bounce. I know that's exactly where I was in my head. You see where you got to at the end there? I was saying things that sounded like that, and I thought, oh crap, because I was
Y'all
basically.
Want to slap me? It's okay.
No. I just mean I was rationalizing. I don't want to be rationalizing. I want to be bullish. I want to be upbeat. I want to be really positive. And in an attempt to sort of drag us in that direction, and this may annoy the shit out of the listeners, I'm sorry if it does, but it is the topic du jour. What do you want me to do, folks? We have to talk about it. There is no larger elephant in the room. I'll stay with you, Lisa Marie, and then go to Cam on this, because you will both have, no matter what sort of work schedule you've had, if you flick through your phone at all, you will both have seen endless footage of Jordan Henderson basically romancing Jude Bellingham in a way that is I mean, it's unprecedented. The lad is out there shilling hard for a Liverpool Football Club. There is no two ways about it. I applaud his enthusiasm and endeavour. You'll have seen the clips that I did where the young fella is entirely non-committal, and he seems to be a nice kid who has a bit of fun about him, a bit of humour about him, not too arrogant considering the status he has within the game at such a young age. I spoke to Dave Davis on our transfer pod, which we recorded on Monday. I think went out on Wednesday. We were both of us were like frenetically texting over and back on Monday, as Monday turned into Tuesday, turned into Wednesday morning, going, all our stories are getting taken by other people. So we were a little bit frustrated about seeing that, because that's just the nature of those shows. You want to get in first or have the story first. That's just the atmosphere you find yourself dragged into. But of course, on that show, we spoke, both of us, about the Bellingham thing, and we are, as a pair on that show, entirely 100% all in on this, and sort of allowing ourselves to think that it's highly possible, if not probable, that it might happen. And I can hear all our pessimistic listeners going, shut up. That's fine. That's fine. You can stop listening now, because it's going to go on like this for a while for me. But I said I'd drop this on both of you and see what you think. I mean, Lisa Marie, just based on the anecdotal stuff, which we can see, the stories we hear, the video clips we can see, the interviews that we've seen, awkward and all as they are, the bits that have been dropped in the various media outlets by various people of various levels of trustworthiness. Where do you find yourself landing on this? Is there a level of optimism in you about it, or are you wildly cautious, or do you think it's absolute paper talk? Where are you on the spectrum?
Yes.
What do you mean, yes?
Meaning, depending on the time of day and my mood, when I'm reading whatever story, I could land in any of those spots.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. You have to think that if it wasn't a strong possibility, Henderson wouldn't be, so out there with it, I mean, so up in front and, anyway, I don't know. I mean, that's the optimism in me speaking once again. Yeah, but and I mean, I think even if he does come, it's not likely to happen, my understanding, until June. I mean, I don't think he would move in January. I don't think Dortmund would release him to do that. So, he would be a long-term solution, not a short-term one, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have to say I'd kind of talked myself out of him kind of coming, and then, but the last week or so, all of this has sort of sparked my hope again. So yeah, I don't know. It is intriguing it just sort of, I guess, adds that little element of suspense to see what's going to happen.
And Cam, to make it all the more suspenseful, the kid himself is doing everybody serious favors who are interested in him by, really showing himself to be quite the player at a tender age. Now, my run of not having seen the World Cup continues, but I trust the reports that I've listened to from various people and I've heard people talk about. And I personally blame Dave Hendrick for having talked myself out of Bellingham, because Dave was banging the drum almost daily on the show about, look, yeah, of course it'd be great to get him, but when you think about what the price is going to be and you think about the owners we have, wouldn't it be better to split that and get two people, and wouldn't we be better off? And that's where I had landed. And now, like I say, I'm all in again because, I obviously like the idea of us getting a high profile signing that everybody else wants. I'm not going to hide that would be something I'd really like. When you think about it, where do you find yourself landing on that spectrum of optimism or pessimism, or is there another place where you're kind of just a little bit detached and different and see what happens? I don't really care. Where are you with on all of this?
Okay, as a player, forget any transfer fee or anything like that. You want him at your club. He's just a beautiful football player. I can't think of another word for him. He is just beautiful to watch. He's got an elegance about him, and that's just from the little game time I've seen during the World Cup.
Hello, I'm here to annoy you. I'm here to annoy you into listening to more of me and more of others on EPL Index. We don't just have the Anfield Index stuff. We've got EPL Index as well, which covers the entirety of the Premier League. And we have 3 podcasts and a whole bunch of really good writing on EPLindex.com. The podcasts are my own two-footed podcast, which is every day at 4 p.m, Monday through Friday, covering the whole league. We have A Tad Predictable, hosted by Tadiwa. You know Tadiwa, he does Anfield Index. He presents A Tad Predictable before every Premier League match week. And then Kevin DeVries and his crew on the EPL Roundtable, they're every week after the Premier League match week. So make sure you listen to everything we're doing on EPL Index and follow us there on Twitter at EPL Index. Thank you. Bye-bye.
He's got so much intelligence, and he just knows what to do and he knows how to do it. And he's not flustered. He's just got so much about him. Thinking of what the potential transfer fee is going to be now, I'm thinking of the situation of where the club is at right now in terms of potential sale or potential investment. So let's break that down into two. If it's a potential investment, then there's no reason to see why the club couldn't secure him in January if they knew that investment was coming in. If that was the player that they've identified as the one they are going to go for, if he was available in January. If it's a potential sale, but the sale doesn't happen before the January transfer window, why would FSG in their right mind invest £150 million or commit to a £150 million investor, not knowing that they're not really going to get a return on that? I know they don't have to pay the money up front, but what if Dortmund insist Well, we've had an offer from Real Madrid, and they're prepared to pay the money up front. They suddenly get the power, don't they? And then Liverpool have got to think, well, what do we do? I know that obviously the way transfers fees are done, you split it up into the term of the contract that the player signs, and the payments are done accordingly that way. Not doesn't mean to say that that could not be the case. I mean, I'm looking at worst case scenario there, and then suddenly FSG are going to say, well, it's of no. Why should we spend £150 million on a player? And we're not going to get, like I say, not going to get anything back on it. We're still getting our $4 billion for the club. They're business people, ultimately. So that's my only worry, if there's no sale of the club before the transfer window and the player suddenly becomes available. But then when you look at the news and how it's been, Hendo's just suddenly become this daddy figure for him. And it's always Hendo. Then there was the picture of Trent, and then there was the interview of Trent, and it's just like, well, just two mates going out, isn't it? You haven't seen Bellingham with anybody else, have you? Any other players from any of the other England players hanging about, doing this stuff. It always seems to be, everything we see seems to be around the Liverpool players, and that they're playing with us. They are deliberately playing with us. They're toying with us, and it's almost wrong what they're doing because they know what it's doing to LFC fans, and
winding them up.
Yeah, and if nothing happens now, what could be worse than seeing all that, knowing how much transfer talk there is? Yeah, all they're doing is just hanging around, isn't it? Just sitting around with each other, doing stuff together, as mates do. But because we're also desperate for this signing, because we need a superstar signing, and FSG haven't really made that big statement signing off their own back, if that makes sense. You can't really, because everybody's always going to hark back to, well, VVD was from the Coutinho sale along with Alisson. They haven't made that huge statement signing, have they? Could it then also be that's the way they're going to sign out? Here you go, Liverpool. This is what we've done for you.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds spectacularly Father Christmas like, and I love it. I just don't know about it. And as I'm listening to what you're saying, and you mentioned, I think it's like they're saying ballpark 130 for a potential signing of Bellingham, and the guy who we're also being heavily linked with, who I was sort of convinced was going to be achievable at a sort of not a modest fee, but a doable fee, is of course Enzo Fernandez. And Enzo Fernandez is now being quoted about north of 100 million. So he's not exactly going to be cheap either. And so we go from this situation where we go back to this situation again where, and what you've been saying there kind of underlines it. Like if it is like a parting gift or the result of an investment or whatever the hell it happens to be, it's likely to be the only thing. And again, I think we're just left in that situation. I saw someone tweet something recently. It was basically, that feeling when you've signed Jude Bellingham, but he's starting alongside Jimmy Milner next season. and I found it hard to argue with like everybody knows I love Jimbo, but that would be crazy town. It's already crazy town. Nobody wants to accept it. There are plenty of people out there. There are lots of people out there who are still entirely in denial about the whole thing, and they want to get pissy with you. And they want to fight you about how our midfielders are great, and that's fine. And I'm way too old to be indulging in that kind of nonsense anymore. I'm just saying my opinion. I think we're already in crazy town. We were this summer when we went into the season without a midfielder. To just add Jude would not in any way, shape, or form be enough. Obviously, it would be a super amazing thing if it could happen in January, but I don't think anybody believes that's possible. Dortmund have their season and all the rest of it. So look, it's an interesting one for sure, and it leads us into the whole topic at the moment of what you raised there, Cam, which is what the hell is going on, and what kind of impact is that going to have on the season? And Lisa Marie, because we know so little, because we're so in the dark, because we go from it's going to be a gang of Americans taking over completely to it's going to be some assorted chaps buying a stake to all of a sudden we've got a joint Saudi and Qatari bid, and it just lurches along from day to day with various levels of believability to all of these things. Now, it's not important that you and I and Cam and the fans necessarily know what's going on, but you would like to have a little bit more of a certain feel that something is going on, because I just feel if we lurch into the second half of the season with things as they are and nothing defined, it's hard to see how that doesn't have a knock-on effect psychologically with the players. At least that would be my take. What do you think?
Absolutely. In fact, I think we talked about this very thing back in the spring as far as Chelsea was concerned, and how their situation had to be impacting their players. So I can't see, having made that statement about, a club that I don't really care anything about, I have to think that, it's absolutely got to be. I mean, even if it's not front and center, it's in the back of your mind. The players, the staff, all of this is their job. This is their livelihood. This is how they support their families. And that's got to be a worry. I mean, anybody who's worked for a company that, and I'm just being very general here, but a company that's potentially going to be sold, or there's going to be a merger or any of that, it's a stress. Be it a large one or a small one. And so I mean, that's at this point in time. I mean, obviously I do care who purchases the club, but I'm just kind of hoping, let's get it done so it's not, I don't want it lingering. I mean, I don't see it being done unless there's just all kinds of things going on behind the scenes. I don't necessarily think it may or may not be done, before the end of, say, the January transfer window. I mean, I think that's kind of unlikely. I could be absolutely wrong, and tomorrow there'll be some, news release that, the club's been sold to whoever. But I certainly don't want it to linger into the summer, because I mean, it's just going to be open and hanging out there, and and not just for our own, the current player staff, but anybody you're looking to recruit to come in, either be it on the player side, or as we know, there's some pretty big staff positions that are open. And I would be hesitant, on a personal level, if, to take a position with the company where I don't know who my boss is going to be, 6 months from now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what do you think about that specific issue, Cam, about is there a danger that I'm over-egging this? Because I know when I speak to Jan, he always says, oh, look, you can underestimate how, I'm trying to pick the right phrase here. Disinterest isn't in the word, but how self-focused players are in terms of they just get on with doing the thing that they do, and they don't think too deeply about other things. So they'll just keep their daily focus on their nutrition and their performance levels and training and their performance levels and matches, and get on with it. And it'll be just a discussion. Whereas I think we're inclined to attribute perhaps a little bit more angst to them than they probably actually feel in the middle of it all. Or do we? I mean, what do you think? It's pretty big existential thing, like the ownership of a club, because it does mean for players that you could have a different take on how they are perceived by new owners in terms of their value as an asset, and therefore you do have a sort of feeling there, don't you, that everything's up in the air if you're a footballer. And I would just worry. I really do. I would worry that it might unsettle some of our very, very best lads, cause that kind of little bit of trouble that we don't need. When if we achieve anything this year, Cam, it's going to be very fine margins.
I'm gonna. I think I've got a very different take here now to Lisa Marie. I think it's very different from the Chelsea situation because Chelsea as a club were in turmoil because of the owner. We're not in turmoil with our owners in any way, shape, or form. I think obviously we're a lot more stable as a football club than what Chelsea were. They were. That was a genuine worry that the club could have just completely been wiped out. So we're not anywhere near that. We were when it was Hicks and Gillette coming in. That was, we were close to administration. But right now, the club's in a very stable position. The club's going to be sold for a huge amount of money or have an investment come in with a huge amount of money when the time or the people are right to do that. The players have got very good contracts. They're not going to suddenly have their contracts just ripped up and thrown away. That would be an interesting one for all the lawyers to jump on, wouldn't it? The stability-wise, monetary-wise, there's nothing for them to overly worry about in that sense. So I think it's very, very different to what Chelsea were in that respect. So I don't think the players would let it get to them in the way that it possibly did with the Chelsea players and team. They will just do what they got to do. They know what their focus is. This is a group of players that last season played every single game. We've how many times have we used the term mentality monsters? Last season was mentality monsters. Yeah, it didn't quite work out for us, but that, to do what they did and to be that close to doing what they did shows us a strength within them that's been instilled into them as well by Jurgen Klopp, Pep Linders, Johnny Achterberg, the Klopp doppelganger, whatever his name is. I was going to say Lenny Kravitz, but it's Peter Kravitz or something like that. Is that?
Peter Kravitz, and you've got the lad who looks like Klopp is Hornmeyer.
Yeah, right, yeah. So, and even possibly coming down from the ownership as well, that this is what they want. And so, for me, I think the players are too focused on trying to get our season right to be thinking who's going to be the next owner. They should be excited possibly about who's coming in rather than thinking, oh my God, who is coming in? They should be think of some of the players that we could come in here who we're going to be playing alongside. Look what happened with Newcastle. That's how we should be looking at it. They've gone from a mid-table team now to a serious top four contender. And we should be thinking, right, we were top dogs along with City, and we're going to go even better. That should be something to look forward to, something to be excited about. But I'm usually the pessimistic one.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I like that upbeat take on it, and I think it's probably the best way for us to be thinking about it. And you could be right; it could absolutely, and like I said, it could very well be the way the players are thinking about it as well. A lot of them, some of the lads are going to be coming home a bit stung. I think obviously Fab and Ali are joining the players returning as of Brazil's elimination today, which you guys told me was 2 penalties on Croatia. We've got Darwin on his way back. Is Virgil in action over the weekend? I presume he is.
He's playing right now. They're losing
Netherlands, Argentina. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Oh, they're losing right now? Okay.
Yeah.
So you could potentially have Virgil on his way back as well. You get that group back together again. I think, yeah, it will probably just be a matter of, look, we're going to do our thing. Like Jan always says, we're going to get our thing, do our thing. And maybe we do. I think as fans, we possibly analyze what might be going on in fellas' heads when actually they just want to get on and play the next game and doing the best they can for them. If it went on too long, I do think it would start to be a real issue, I have to say. But hopefully that won't be the case. You would like to think there might be some sort of clarification around what's about to happen over the next while. Just to sate our curiosity, if for no other reason. Now, at this point, I'm just going to drop it in here into the show. Cam, last week we spent a lot of time chit-chatting about 4 different things that upset us about football. You've been uncharacteristically optimistic there. I feel like we need to get the karmic balance back. And so I was going to ask you, did you have a little think as we were going through the show there? Was there anything that really, really grinds your gears football-wise? And if you want to talk about it, and if not, just let me know. And we will flag it up again with you next week, and we can have a good old moan over your chosen 2 topics on the next show. Does anything jump out at you now, or would you rather wait?
Yeah, something really jumps out, and it's
okay, here we go.
Liverpool centric, completely Liverpool centric.
Right.
We are all fans of Liverpool Football Club, regardless of where we're from, regardless of who we are, regardless of what we are, regardless of anything. The bottom line is, whether you agree with me or don't agree with me, I love the club as much as you do. And no one can take that away from me, regardless of where I was born or where I live, how many times I've been to Anfield, how many times I haven't been to Anfield, how much money I may have spent in my lifetime supporting the club, how much I may not have spent supporting the club, how much time I may have given up living on the other side of the world to watch a game of football at whatever ungodly hour. That is still me supporting the club. I love the club as much as anybody else, as much as anybody, and everybody loves the club as much as I do. Nobody has a God-given right to love the club any more than anybody in the world. We are all equal. Suck it up. Deal with it. Live with it. Go fuck yourselves if you think otherwise.
I was waiting for that bit at the end because it was all way too possible that it could just go straight into a commercial, and then you calm the shit out of it right at the end. Yeah, was there a specific thing that inspired that for you, man? Have you seen something recently?
I mean, not recently. I mean, I've had it asked to me twice in all the times I've been to Anfield. At one time, somebody said, "Oh, where are you from?" And I said, I think I was living in Gloucester at the time, which is towards the southwest of England, not far from the Welsh border. And the guy goes, "Yeah, you're fucking out of town or a wool or something." I don't know what he called me. And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. You know, is that the best you got?" And then he didn't know what to say. He walked off. And then another guy once asked me, I was in the, it's the Sir Kenny Dalglish stand, and he just queuing up to get a drink at half time or something. He goes, "Where are you from, fella?" I said, "Oh, I'm from wherever." And he goes, "Fair play to you, making the effort." And it's like, again, he was a local lad, but chalk and cheese.
Yeah.
You know, just yeah. At the end of the day, our players are not from Liverpool. You know, you support them to the hill to a point. That's a bag of dog shite, and you get frustrated. But when they're wearing the red shirt, they've got the liver bird on their chest. You just want them to be better than Pele, better than Maradona, better than Beckenbauer, better than Platini, better than Zidane. You know, you want them better than Pirlo, better than Messi. You want them to be the best of the best of the best. But you have a problem with your fan base. Well, don't you want our fan base to be the best? But is our fan base only then going to be the best if it's somebody from L4 or L3 or L2 or L65 or whatever. No. You know, I go there and I'll make as much noise as the next man. Took my daughter to her first game last season, and she came back and said to her mum, "He's even madder there." Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought this up, because it's a great one to go back to Lisa Marie with in a minute as well, because obviously you got very distinctive shares in this topic, Lisa Marie, but as an Irish lad who's been over a lot as well, I've gotten pretty much everything you can imagine, but the vast majority, 90% of it has been really positive. Some of it bananas positive, actually, to be honest. It's never fails to amaze me how you can get introduced to a lad in a pub who says, "Oh yeah, I really like your podcasts," and you're going, "Christ, this is mad, right? This is nuts." And these things can happen, and they're very, very positive. But there's a phrase you used there in it, that "where are you from" phrase, which is very popular in the British media at the moment, obviously, because it's sparked.
I didn't even thought that. No,
Yeah, sparked quite a conversation, and we've all had our own little experiences where my countrymen are particularly well versed in the not necessarily getting a fair crack of the whip by everybody from good old Blighty over the years. So it is an interesting one for sure, and I'm glad you brought it up. But to go over to you on it, Lisa Marie, as someone who, you've had, one of which you spoke about recently, those experiences going to watch live games, you've been to see Liverpool pre-season, you, like so many others, do that insane thing of loading up on coffee so you can watch matches when you should be asleep, and you're here you are doing podcasts about said matches when you probably have a million other things you could be doing as well. And that kind of dedication is what Cam's talking about there. Are you aware of this as a debate? Because it can get quite...
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac, and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, mag boxes, and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
Feisty. It can get quite bitter, and it's interesting in the way that oftentimes you'll notice the people who are getting the most upset and offended for whatever cause are people who are not actually the ones being targeted. Sometimes I've noticed some of the people getting most bent out of shape, it doesn't tend to be Scousers at all, but it's people saying, "What are you doing? You're not even from Liverpool," that type of thing. Are you aware of that as a phenomenon? Is it something you've experienced in your online fan experience?
Okay, so for the first part, yeah, I'm aware of it. And probably just as a, in the grand scheme of things, more recent fan, I'm, maybe not as honed into it as I might be if I'd been following the team for a couple of decades. So, so yeah, and honestly, I think I'm more aware of it hearing, you or Cam or some of the other people just sort of reference it and talk about it. I have been pleasantly, I don't want to say surprised, but I guess I've just fallen in with the right people. Because, and I've said this on one of the Discord chats that, I was very hesitant at first to engage with people online and everything because I just sort of assumed that they would think American, female, she doesn't know what she's talking about, those sorts of things. And at least, within the AI community, Anfield Index community, I have not felt any of that, at all. And I've said it in a couple different places at a couple different times that, because, for me, it's the, the addition of not only being American, but being a female. And, there can be some sexism, as far as comments and, and things like that. And I have not personally, experienced any of that. But it could also be I just haven't been around long enough. Sometimes the longer you're around something, the more likely you are to, to catch a hit. So yeah, but I am aware that it goes on. And when I do see it, as I said, I haven't received any personal, comments or criticisms or anything, but I have seen them, aimed at others. And it just, it annoys me because it's like, exactly what Cam was saying earlier. I have just as much a right to support this team as anybody does. And, I wish I lived, in Liverpool or somewhere in the UK to where I could come to Anfield. I mean, that's like on my bucket list now is, places I truly, truly want to go. I want to be able to experience it, firsthand. But let's be real, it's not something that can be easily done, for varying reasons, a number of them. So I don't think anybody should be criticized for living in Australia or, Nashville or wherever that, they can't rock up to Anfield on any given weekend to, enjoy the team and, be there in person, at Anfield supporting the players or even, anywhere else, even in an away match or whatever. I mean, my greatest, not only Anfield, I mean, I'd love to be at one of these, Champions League matches. I know we had a little discussion in the WhatsApp group a few months back about countries we'd traveled and then it morphed into, Cam and Carl kind of talking about places you've gone to see Liverpool play and everything. And I mean, my eyes turned green with jealousy. So yeah, so no, it has not, I have not received it personally. Now watch, I'll just get slagged all, online this week relentlessly. But no, I have not received it personally, but I am aware that it happens. And I think I would be able to, Trev, to harken back to our discussion last week. You know what? Scroll on. Screw you. You know what?
Yeah.
I have just as much right to support Liverpool as, anybody. And, if you have a problem with that, whatever.
Yeah, no, that's it. That was the takeaway last week was just roll your eyes and move on. It really is not worth the engagement. And it's a lovely, heartening thing to hear that as of yet, that is not a thing you've had to face. Because if you were to listen to people talk, football fans are just boorish, woman-hating, unwelcoming, clannish, hateful, and all the rest of it. And there are a huge amount of really good people out there. And I think our extended Anfield Index crew are particularly good bunch. So it is nice to know that there is that sort of positivity out there as well, that you can stick your toes in the water and not find yourself getting them bitten off by some sort of a Union Jack flag shagging shark telling you some little Englander truths about how you're not welcome around these parts. I have a question for you both. I've just seen a report that I want to bounce off you. It's an interview with Carlo Ancelotti. Cam, you remember Bob Paisley used to use the phrase about the opposition that you were about to play. He said he liked to give them a bit of toffee. Do you remember that phrase?
Yeah.
So, say something, talk nicely about them, tell them how great they are. Well, Carlo has been talking about the general state of football. He says, we are in a phase of transition. We're running out of Ibra, Ronaldo, Suarez, Cavani, Messi and Benzema are 35. Lewandowski, I will celebrate them next year, or will celebrate that birthday next year. The new ones, he says, are Mbappe, Richarlison, Haaland, Alvarez, and Nunez. What do you think of that? Because to me, that's pure toffee, I have to say. I think that's a cynical little play by Carlo to get inside our man's head. I can't believe he's elevating him into the same little bracket there as Mbappe and Haaland. And then can we go for topic number 2? Richarlison.
Well, that's where I was going to go.
Excuse me, I
one.
just had to comment.
Now, apparently the lad's had a good World Cup, and apparently because he's got very similar political views to a lot of people on Twitter, he's now great.
I agree with that bit.
He's still a ball bag. I don't care about anyone's political views.
Awful.
Yeah, but as a person away from the pitch, yeah, full respect, because at the end of the day, he shares similar values to myself. So I'm not going to knock. But on the football pitch, yeah, he's a grade A-hole.
Yes.
He's one of those players. If he's in your team, you're going to love him because he gives you everything. He's got that mentality, hasn't he? When he was at Watford, I actually quite liked him. And I thought I wouldn't mind him at Liverpool. I'm not going to lie to you. I did like the look of him. But he is a grade A-hole. He's struggling to get into the Spurs first 11. He's scored 2-3 goals at the World Cup. So I know he scored 2 goals in one game. I don't know how many he scored aside from that. I've not really paid attention.
Do you think that proves my point though, that Carlo's absolutely?
Oh yeah, 100%.
He's doing a little bit of mind games.
That's why you threw him in there.
100%.
Just to show this isn't a serious quote.
Because he actually splits Haaland and Mbappe with Richarlison. And then he throws in our Darwin at the end. And don't get me wrong, I love Darwin, and he does have the potential to be an absolute world beater, but he ain't there yet. And that's just that I don't know. I just wanted to throw that one out there.
Sweet, isn't it? It's very sweet from
it's very clever from the wise old.
I'm sure Jurgen's seen that, and he'll throw something in there as well.
Yeah, I don't know if Jurgen's quite as good, or even if he gets involved in these type of things. He certainly doesn't have the Mourinho appetite for it, but
true.
But it's interesting coming from Carlo. He's a wily old fox. I'll give him that. He knows what's happening. It's gone 8:05. We should start wrapping it up. So I'm going to do exactly that. If you have any last minute thing that you want to mention, then please feel free to do that. I want to let people know that myself and Dave will be back. That's Dave Davis. We'll be back with a transfer show probably Monday. So keep an ear out.
I find that really amusing, you know.
What's that?
You talking transfers.
Oh, it's fucking hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. And
just so fucking hypocritical. Sauce, man. It's pure sauce, man.
It's what I do best, brother. It's what I do best. Hypocrisy. It's my real house.
I love Alan O'Donoghue. He's a great guy. Fuck that Downey hypocrite. I've met Alan O'Donoghue. We've hugged.
I've met Alan twice.
Together.
Yep.
Twice.
You know what?
My 2 previous trips to Ireland. Yeah.
Well, why don't you both go and marry Alan O'Donoghue?
Why are you getting so bitter? You've
Talk
become
about
blue,
green-eyed
Trev.
jealousy.
No. There's literally zero jealousy here. I'm trying to work out who are loyal party members, and I'm thinking.
Not only is he talking toffee, he's now become bitter. The man's a blue in disguise.
Yeah.
Nice.
Blue in Disguise actually might be a good name for this show. I think that's what we'll go. Right, so we should wrap it up there with both Lisa Marie and Cam Brainch hacking the back of me as usual. I get bullied relentlessly on this show. I'm used to it at this stage. It's been years and years
Poor Trev.
of trauma.
Do that in computer voice. It'll make him feel better.
No, it won't.
No, here we go.
There we go.
Trev, bless your heart.
There we go. Y'all made me feel better in the end. So we should wrap it up. I'm gonna let us go. Cam, anything you want to say, or are you happy enough to wrap it up?
Just got a quick recommendation. I just finished watching Reacher on Amazon Prime. Really good. Really enjoyed the series.
Lovely. That's nice. That's one for folks to go and get in. Lisa Marie, want to be any recs or anything you want to mention?
I have on the back. Okay, so I think we've all talked about Friday Night Lights before. Love it.
Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So
Brilliant.
I've started rewatching it because apparently Scott Porter, who played Jason Street, the guy who played Matt Saracen, I can't think of his name. Anyway, they have started kind of a rewatch podcast. It's called, I think, like It's Not Only Football, or Not Just About the Football, or something like that. And so I've caught the first couple episodes of that, and so I've started rewatching the series. So, you know, it's just when you need a little bit of good in your life, a little bit of light, seek out Friday Night Lights. It's on Netflix.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
That's a good rec. That's a good rec, and people really love those. They're like comfort listen podcasts as well when they're talking about something that they love. So
well,
that's a nice.
It's interesting because they're talking about. I mean, and they literally just started it last month, and they're doing one a week. So I mean, they're only about 4 or 5 episodes in, and like the first pod just talked about this is what we're doing. You know, this is kind of why we're doing it. And then they took them two episodes to do the pilot. Talk about the pilot, but they've kind of talked about how they were cast and you know, kind of they had to go into sort of, you know, football boot camp, and you know, and just some of the you know, they talked about kind of the behind the scenes and the production of it too, which I think is, you know, it's just interesting. So anyway, seek it out.
Shall do. I can see myself doing that. Well, if you'll excuse me, I have to go and paint for the next 4 hours. And then I have to paint all day Saturday and all day Sunday. And then I'll have to paint after work on Monday and Tuesday. I will be painting. That's what I do now. I paint. So thank you, Christmas, you prick, for creating a situation where I have to paint all the time now in my spare time. But that is what I'm heading off to do. I better get back and get to it, or else I will be behind schedule. So thanks to Lisa Marie Hannah and thanks to Cam Brainch. I've been Trev Downey. This is the Anfield Index Podcast. Only the 350 episodes, don't you know? Surely that's worth something of a celebration. Young Tandon, but we'll leave that to him to think about coming on horrid soon, as we say around here. It'd be nice to have him and Dave just do a little cameo. Just saying, lads. Just saying. Yeah, we'll see if such a thing can happen in the next one.
Alan O'Donoghue.
I'd love to get Alan on. He's a lovely
I
fella.
have suggested that in the past too.
I, for one, am sick of you absolutely hacking the back off when the mics go dead. You're such a hypocrite, Cam Brainch. You are such a hypocrite. The worst.
Lisa Marie, I'm nothing but nice to him. Right.
To me, you're nothing but nice to me.
Yeah, definitely. Who wouldn't be nice to you, Lisa Marie?
Oh God. And with that completely insincere note, we shall end the show.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.